All right, I've made it 2 steps outside. Never decided to change my mind. Oh my gosh, that's bright. It's gonna be almost 30 degrees today. So we had a huge ice storm 2 days ago. Everything was covered. I threw a couple pictures up on Instagram if you want to see that. Oh, I gotta change angles. That's gonna make me sneeze. But coming out here, I think it's a good day to start hardening off plants. So the bench that's behind me there, we'll go ahead and we'll put some plants out, our seed starts, get them some sunshine, a little bit of wind. Be good for them for today. Oh, look at how beautiful. I'm actually so impressed with these guys. These actually are Scotch bonnets. So where we are, for some reason, you can't find Scotch bonnet pepper seeds. Like true ones are all Caribbean style or something else. So these guys are all actual Scotch bonnets for making Jamaican jerk sauce. And I'm so impressed with how those have turned out. Peppers are looking okay. You know, some of them aren't looking so great. Tomatoes coming up like rock stars. I didn't have proper lighting for some of my starts this year, so some of them are a little bit laggy, some of them are lagging behind. But look at this basil. It's a beautiful day when you can put basil outside and you don't have to worry about it at all. I'm just so excited for the garden. Speaking of which, we'll take you on a little bit of a startup tour where the garden is this year and what's going on. I got some fun things for Christmas, like a gorilla cart, which I freaking love. So does my daughter. It's her cart, really. She gets to ride around in it. And I am 30+ weeks pregnant right now, so I also have a mobile cart so that I can sit down and do this stuff, which is a game changer, like really. But I'll start over here, which is where we usually put our hot peppers. But this year we decided to change it up because I noticed that the snow stayed in these beds probably about twice as long as it did in the main garden behind me. So I moved some colder crops here to see if they'll do better. So here we've got 3 different types of lettuce. So in the front there's romaine, the middle there's a butter crunch iceberg, and at the back there is a salad greens kind of mix. Over here on our giant one, it's a 10-foot bed. This is going to be spinach because I like to cube it up and keep it for winter. I think this is why it's colder here now. This whole shelter is new this year to us and is holding a couple of fun toys that you guys saw in our last video, but it does cast a good amount of shade on the garden. So I think that that's cutting off my morning sunshine and a total disaster. So I had all my gardening stuff in here last year and I was super excited about it. I had everything all ready. Like the stuff I'm gonna need to pull up first is at the front. I'm gonna need a little bit more help this year getting the garden started, and like it was all ready. Like I planned it out so it would be better. So obviously I'm not getting into that anytime soon, but thankfully I've had some help going in and retrieving a couple of row covers for these guys here as the time goes on, and we'll see how it turns out. You know, it's been here for less than a year, so that's not great. We're also gonna fix the compost pile this year, which I'm really excited about. I'm gonna try to source some pallets for that, and we're gonna get in there, get it mulched up, and get it going and get it good again. Because I kind of did a lazy man's composting, and I don't like looking at it anymore, so it's gotta go. It's time to go. Behind me here, you'll probably see a couple of fun toys because I have a gardening helper this year and she is busy. So a lot of stuff is not really where I left it, but it's been amazing having her. She's been a big help. She's actually very good at weeding. She knows to pull all the green stuff right now out of the garden beds. Speaking of which, my irrigation pipes are a bit of a mess at the moment because there's 2 here because I was just working on this bed. So this is our herb bed. I guess I'm gonna call it officially now. I did an experiment last year where trying to figure out which ones would be perennials, which ones wouldn't be. Gosh, can you hear those frogs? It's just gardening updating. That's kind of really what's going on right now. We're just picking weeds that are like the little bit that are coming up and going through and putting compost in the beds that need it. This guy got planted with onions the other day. We are going down to 0 again in like a day. It's like 30 degrees today. It's gonna be 0 in 4 days. It was snowstorming last week. I don't know what's happening, but we're gonna try and figure out how to kind of work with it and see how it goes. So this is one of our metal beds. So if you've seen some of our previous videos, this is one of the free beds that we got. It's old garage doors that were put together, and it's one of my favorite beds, to be totally honest with you, because nothing grows out the sides either. So with the wood, you have the slats. Some weeds can come out the sides, but these guys are solid, so I love these ones. Got onions here. This one is what it looks like kind of before we get to the compost and the removing of the weeds and everything. So that's how it sits all winter. I'm hoping to get some silage tarp to go over top of it eventually, just so we have a little bit more cover. And yeah, everything's kind of in a little bit of a disheveled state at the moment. It's spring. It's the earliest of spring. So look at how big it is. I don't really get to see it like this, but we are working on getting it together and getting our seeds started and out. I can probably put the potatoes in. Kind of trying to space it out as much as we can, you know, take it a little bit easier this year. And kind of see how the year goes. This is our beginning of our season, and I was reminded the other day as I was staring at it, looking at so much of the stuff that we have to do, and that it's a marathon, it's not a race. So I get to take the time and kind of figure things out and take advantage of opportunities that come along. And it's hard, especially when you know that there's going to be a couple of months here this summer that I'm not going to be able to be out here. Like how the garden is set up, it self-waters. With all the plants getting started early and all the cover that we have for them, there shouldn't be any weeding that really needs to be done. So fingers crossed that, you know, this is our easiest setup for gardening this year. Having said that though, I do have 5 new garden beds that I'm trying to put in this year. So we have a couple that I've been trying to put in are these 16-foot beds. There's no soil in them yet. And I'm gonna put trellises on them. I say I'm going to do it. I've signed other people up to do this for me, so thank you to those people. But the idea is to get the irrigation, these guys filled up and ready to go so that we can hopefully plant them in like 3 weeks. We'll see. It depends on, you know, tractors and soil deliveries and weather and everything in between. But this will be I think it'll be the end of the raised beds. I want to get into a couple of areas where we're more on the ground than above the ground. Like these are absolutely wonderful. I love doing these beds, but it's just going to be nice just to be able to put down the seed kind of in a row and watch it go, as opposed to, you know, having to walk through and set up irrigation on up and through and put down landscape fabric and everything else that goes with making it a beautiful and functional raised garden bed. I'd like to just kind of be able to throw it down on the ground as best I can and be able to take advantage of Mother Nature. So over here we have the pond that's still a work in progress. I am constantly fighting with the amount of soil that we have around here, which is about like maybe 6 inches where it's good. You can see. Yeah, that thing was frozen. Yeah, full of water about 3 days ago. Now it floods every year, and it floods every time it rains, so it's a natural pooling spot. You can still see it's kind of damp and wet in here. And we're coming through. We're gonna be right off the garden, so I'm hoping to be able to run the ducks off here, because off the house, off the garden, we can just kind of throw all of our scrap foods and everything here for maybe a couple of chickens and ducks and see how it goes. But for right now, it's kind of a barren, rocky wasteland. It's gonna happen, I tell you. Oh look, we've had deer up here. That's new. You don't usually get to see them coming up. I bet she was coming up for a drink. There you go. So wildlife is gonna like the pond too. Thank goodness. But that's a work in progress. It's probably gonna be a work in progress for a long time because every time I look at how much it's gonna cost to put in a pond, I close my computer. Back here, we've cleared a space here as well. This is where I'm hoping to put in just an asparagus patch at the very back. I think they look like wispy beards at the end of the year. So I think it'll be fun to kind of sit here and watch the garden grow with the wispy beards in the background. I'm hoping it'll also give us a little bit of a break from the wind because we've had some insane winds over the last couple of years where people that have been here for way longer than us still have no idea where it's been coming from. But again, what are you gonna do? So we're gonna figure that out and hopefully get these garden beds up and running, and a couple other projects underway. I'll have to stick around and see what we actually get done this year and how long it'll actually take me to get all this stuff in. But for now, it's, you know, the start of the season. We got log time to go. That looks terrible. Just whatever. Don't look at that. That's something that's going to take a while to figure out. But we are going to have a couple of things planted. So we already have herbs growing. We have the lettuces growing. It's been planted, sown into that bed over by our dog run. We have garlic that's growing here. We have onions growing there. So kind of, even though it looks like it's in a bit of a disheveled state, it is still growing things, which is amazing. This is a fun experiment that I think I'm working on. I think I'm working on it, but Mother Nature has other plans. So we had a raspberry dropping from a bird, just kind of come out of the ground, but I didn't know it's also growing out the other side. So it's also growing out the other side, out of the ground. So we got some leaves coming in. Look at that. That's beautiful. So we're gonna see. I'm probably gonna leave this here for another year because then it'll be 2 years old, and then I'll relocate it into our patch of berries that's on the other side there. But for now, it's just kind of doing its thing and making bigger roots for us to get some raspberries. Maybe come out here, get a snack this spring or later this summer. And you can see, show. There they are. Hi, babies. Right there. Garlic. Love garlic in our house. We eat a ton of it. Last year, the garlic that we got won first prize at the fair. So it's not just any garlic, guys. Come on. This is good garlic. But it looks like it's doing really, really well. I'm really happy with it. One of my favorite things to grow, because you can still get into the garden late and get something planted. And then it's the first thing that comes up in the spring. Well, other than the chives, which I guess are another, you know, garlic, onion. Those are kind of our seasoning staples, but it's really, really awesome to come out here and, you know, on the first beautiful day that there's already something green out here. It just makes you feel so much better. So I think that'll be it for me for today. It is quite sunny and warm already, even though it's before noon, but we're gonna go in and, well, we'll probably do a little bit more work out here, and I'll probably get distracted on the way inside. And if I do, I'll take you along with me. But for now, I think that's it for our garden update, and I will see you guys in the next video when things are growing. Bye.